Spidey got slapped by my nuts. Welcome to the channel, my fellow rivalers. Today I'm spotlighting the strongest mutant in the Marvel Universe. Nope, it's not Magneto, it's not Psylocke. It's the one and only Doreen Green, aka Squirrel Girl, and her partner in crime, Tippy. She's a duelist in Marvel Rivals, and while she was strong enough to take on Thanos and Galactus, how strong is she in Marvel Rivals? Well, let's find out. Alright, so looking at Squirrel Girl, she comes in with a difficulty star rating of 1, but don't let that fool you. Squirrel Girl is more complex than she leads on initially. Her normal attack is Burst Acorn, which is a projectile attack. Now this attack provides high damage, which can be bounced or aimed at the enemy directly. This attack also inflicts splash damage to nearby enemies as long as they're close enough to the impact, making it one of the strongest normal attacks in the game.
That's a lot of damage!
Unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami is her ultimate or Q ability, summoning a horde of squirrels to charge forward, damaging while bouncing against structures, killing anything in its path. Don't get caught up on how cute or funny this looks. If you see it coming your way, chances are it's already too late. Tail bounce is a nice mechanic as Squirrel Girl uses her tail to rocket upwards. While in the air, you can maneuver where you want to go, helping you reach desired high places in the map or attempting to flee or escape a tough situation. Mammal Bond helps you reload your burst acorns, and you can use this ability without cooldown once in a short duration, making it really easy once you're low on your burst acorn to just go ahead and reload. Squirrel Blockade is your trap with Squirrel Girl, making it impossible for your opponents to move for a short time period. Her team-up ability is with Spider-Man, Web Acorn. Spider-Man gives Squirrel Girl a web bomb. She can launch it to unleash an explosion upon contact with the environment or an enemy, briefly immobilizing and damaging enemies caught in the blast. Alright, so what I would suggest is that you guys take her to the practice range and get as comfortable as possible with her basic. I can't stress it enough, this is something that you're going to be using pretty much the entirety of Squirrel Girl. So that's where her 1-star difficulty rating comes in. But with that being said, you have to be very proficient with her shots. So definitely start practicing your bounce attacks. Make sure you're bouncing off the walls, your ricochets, ideally straight and head-on attacks, and any short-range engagements that may come your way, including the usage of your trap. So that's what makes Squirrel Girl an easier character to pick up, especially if you're starting up, is because all you tend to do with her is spam her basic ability. Her normal attack is everything. Sometimes, yes, you will use her trap. Sometimes, yes, you will use the L-shift ability to jump, but the main thing that you will be doing is spamming some acorns and dealing as much damage to crowd control the enemy. Okay, so let's talk about the top 5 tips that I have for you when it comes to Squirrel Girl. If you're a beginner or if you're already up and running and you have never used Squirrel Girl, or you're just not comfortable with projectile DPS characters, then these tips are for you. Number 1, positioning. Positioning is extremely important when it comes to Squirrel Girls. If you guys have ever played that other character in that other game that shall not be named, you know what I'm talking about. I can't stress this enough, but when you play with Squirrel Girl, it's like playing chess. You have to sometimes think 3 steps ahead and anticipate where enemies are coming from in order to hold an angle, ideally behind a cover or hugging a wall as much as possible. This is where tail bounce can sometimes come in handy, giving you the ability to reach high places in the map and find cover. The less they see of you, the better. Getting caught out in the open is the last thing that you want to do with Squirrel Girl, which leads me to point number 2. Number 2, jiggle, peek, and ricochet. Now, since Squirrel Girl is not a hit scan character, you have to be sneaky as possible with this character and maintain your distance, because at range is where you will do most of your damage. Jiggle peeking behind a wall as you spam acorns into a choke point can help increase sustainability as well as remain unseen or giving opposing snipers a clean line of sight to you. Being able to bounce your acorns and deal damage on a bounce, also something that you will want to do as much as possible when holding a team without being invisible. At number 3, we have take advantage of her team up. Spidey is a pretty popular character, so partnering with someone that loves Spider-Man shouldn't be an issue. Web Acorn gives you an opportunity to blast splash damage to opponents with Burst Acorn and gets easy pickings for you and your team. The team up in these games are always a nice bonus to have, and some tend to be stronger than others, this being the case with Squirrel Girl. She tends to be vulnerable in close engagement, and landing projectile shots is already hard enough as it is, so immobilizing the enemy will make your life easier, as well as make an opponent think twice about pushing you. Unstable Squirrel Tsunami. This ult is strong when used correctly. Sometimes I just can't help it and I want to shoot it straight at an enemy. But staying patient and waiting for the right angle in order to bounce off multiple surfaces is the best way to maximize hits on opposing teams. With that being said, ideally you want to wait until the team is at a choke point or an enclosed room or an area where your ult will definitely be bouncing off of places, so stay patient and wait for a crowded room in a small space to let this one rip. Last but not least is take your time. It sounds simple enough, but I can promise you a lot of people might get frustrated right away with Squirrel Girl because she's a projectile character, so the only way you're gonna get better with her is by playing her extensively. The more you use her, the more comfortable you're gonna get with all the bounce patterns of your normal attack, learning how to aim, learning where to bounce, learning when to jiggle peek, and it's all gonna become like second nature for you, and you'll start getting in opponents' heads as they start to strafe and they have to try to avoid your bombardment of squirrels. But like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, so definitely take your time. I promise you will start seeing some high kill games, high damage games, as long as you start applying some of these tips and you take your time with Squirrel Girl. Okay, so in summary, Squirrel Girl is great at what she does. She can zone out the enemy in any choke point, you can spam acorns over and over and over again, inflicting high damage and splash damage as well, as is mobilizing opponents with Mammal Bond and Web Acorn. While she's technically an easy character to pick up, you have to get used to the nuances. Become proficient, predict enemy movement, as well as constantly try to find cover on the field. She does have a glaring weakness, which is that she doesn't have a short range secondary attack, so if you miss your acorn shots up close, you don't have Memo Bond at the ready, you are probably going to lose that fight more often than not. Open areas are also not your friend, since outside of your tail bounce you have no other movement ability that will help you out in a pinch, so ensure that you're constantly aware of your surroundings. I'm also not sure that I can say that she's top tier, however I do think that there's tremendous high value in rank play, especially in maps where there's a lot of cover like Tokyo 2099. And also if Spider-Man is also getting picked as DPS, she's a no-brainer as a secondary support DPS in my opinion. There is a fun factor as well that about just continuously spamming squirrels in the air. I can't help but get a chuckle at times when I'm using her. So, alright guys, well let me know what you guys think about Squirrel Girl. I'll continue to drop more content on the channel and more guides. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comment section down below. Until next time, stay safe and keep on rivaling. Peace out. No, man. I was on a rampage.